The BMD-1 and BTR-D are among the most intriguing weapon systems. In one respect, they were weakly armored and ineffectively armed against modern threats even when created in the 1960s and 1970s. Yet this vehicle family dramatically increased the paratroopers' protection, maneuverability, and firepower compared to the past. Today, we're investigating the BMD-1 and BTR-D, the horse of the airborne units. The BMD-1 and BTR-D have a unique place in military history. Unlike their predecessors and contemporary counterparts, they radically changed the concept of airborne vehicles. They mechanized paratroopers. BMD stands for Боевая машина десанта, which means combat vehicle of the airborne, while the BTR-D stands for Броня транспортер десанта, which means armored transporter of the airborne. The USSR was one of the first to recognize the value of the airborne assault concept. In 1930, the Soviet armed forces conducted a large-scale experimental airborne operation. Based on this experience, the USSR quickly established a significant airborne force. In 1935, the Soviet armed forces strapped T-27 tankettes underneath heavy bombers to support its paratroopers with armored vehicles and landed them on airfields. After a while, the USSR began conducting trials of parachute tanks. During the Second World War, the Russians continued working on unusual but unsuccessful projects, such as the Antonov A-40 Krylia Tanka, a set of biplane wings, and a twin-boom tail that could be fitted into a T-60 tank for airborne delivery. In 1944, the USSR turned to more conventional designs, such as the ASU-76. Although this vehicle could not reach serial production, it paved the way for the development of the ASU-57. The ASU-57 had inadequate firepower and protection. Its top was even left open. The ASU-85 entered service in 1956. Although it had a more powerful main gun and a closed hull, it was still insufficient. In the early 1960s, modern armies had already completed their motorization and mechanization. The next war would be nuclear. Modern infantry needed a new type of equipment, the infantry fighting vehicle, shortly IFV. The Soviet Army with the BMP-1 became a pioneer in this field. At the time, the Soviet Airborne Forces, or VDV, still operated the ASU-57 and ASU-85 fire support vehicles. For transportation, they still relied on unarmored tactical vehicles and light trucks. All this equipment was invalid on the modern battlefield. Since the primary Soviet military transport aircraft of that time, the AN-12 could carry only one BMP-1, this IFV was unsuitable for VDV operations. Besides, it could not be dropped via parachute. The VDV demanded a new vehicle with capabilities similar to the BMP-1. Volgogradsky Traktorny Zavod started the design works to answer this requirement in 1965. Trials began in 1967. The 108th Parachute Regiment of the 7th Guards Airborne Assault Division in Lithuania delivered the first batch of the BMD-1s in 1969. The vehicle was unveiled for the first time during the 1970 Divina exercises, in which VDV successfully dropped over 7,000 paratroopers and more than 150 pieces of military equipment in just 22 minutes. The driver sits in the vehicle's center, just forward of the turret. The vehicle commander sits to the driver's left, and the bow machine gunner sits to the driver's right. The personnel compartment at the rear of the vehicle has a concertina-type cover that opens toward the front. It is highly cramped. The BMD-1 is first packed onto a special pallet before takeoff to use the parachute. Preparation for landing requires considerable time, and transporting the system to the airfields necessitates a large number of trucks. The IFV can be dropped from an IL-76 at a flight speed of 260 to 400 km per hour from altitudes ranging from 500 to 8,000 meters. To drop a BMD-1, a drogue chute is released that initially drags the vehicle out of the cargo bay. Once it is clear of the aircraft, a single large main chute opens. Deploying the main chute triggers the release of 4 long rods that hang beneath the pallet. Its descending speed is between 15 to 20 meters per second. When the rods touch the ground, a retro-rocket fires, slowing the BMD-1 to a descending speed of between 6 to 7 meters per second and providing a relatively soft landing. This system allows an IFV to be safely parachuted while the driver and the gunner are inside. The members of the Airborne Infantry Squad are parachuted separately. After landing, they must locate their individual BMD-1s using a radio bleeper device. The BMD-1's hull is made of all-welded aluminum with a maximum thickness of 15 mm. It's resistant to small arms fire and shell splinters. Smoke-generating equipment and a fire extinguishing system enhance its survivability. The BMD-1's later versions are also fitted with smoke grenade launchers. The vehicle can operate in a CBRN environment. The one-person turret is non-stabilized. The electrically operated elevation and traverse mechanism also has mechanical emergency controls. The BMD-1's main armament is a 73mm 2A28 smoothbore, low-pressure, short recoil gun fed from an automatic 40-round magazine. Its rate of fire is 8 to 10 rounds per minute, and its elevation depression angles are between +30 and -4 degrees. After each round is fired, the gun is returned to an elevation of 3 degrees and 30 minutes for reloading. The 2A28 fires a projectile similar to that used in the standard tripod-mounted SPG-9 recoilless gun. The 73mm PG-9VS high-explosive anti-tank fin-stabilized munition can penetrate 400mm of steel at a range of 1,300 meters. The 7.62mm PKT coaxial machine gun is fed from a continuous belt of 2,000 rounds. The two machine guns, firing forwards, are mounted on either side of the vehicle's front and are used by the commander and the bow machine gunner. There are also 3 firing ports, one on each side of the hull and one at the rear, allowing the infantry to use their weapons under armor protection. A launcher rail for the 9M14 Malyutka anti-tank missile, whose NATO reporting name is 83 Sagar, is mounted over the main armament. 2 missiles are carried inside the turret, loaded via rail through a hatch in the forward part of the turret roof. The missile has a maximum range of 3,000 meters and can penetrate up to 400mm of steel armor. The BMD-1's independent suspension combines a hydraulic system for altering ground clearance and maintaining track tension with pneumatic springs. Thus, ground clearance can be adjusted from 100 to 450mm. The IFV is fully amphibious and is propelled in water by 2 water jets at the rear of the hull. Its water speed is 10 km per hour. Additional fuel cells can be fitted externally in the rear valve to increase vehicle's operational range. With a power-to-weight ratio of 32 horsepower per ton and a ground pressure of 0.57 kilograms per square centimeter, the BMD-1 demonstrates excellent cross-country mobility. The crew of the BMD-1 consists of 3 people: a commander, gunner, and driver. It can also carry 4 infantrymen. The vehicle is 5.4 meters long, 2.63 meters wide, and 1.97 meters high. Its combat weight is 7,500 kilograms. The 240 horsepower Type 5D20 diesel engine provides a maximum speed of 70 kilometers per hour. The vehicle's range is 320 kilometers. The BMD-1 can negotiate 0.8 meter vertical steps and 1.6 meter trenches. Poor ventilation in early BMD-1 models could lead to crew asphyxiation when the weapons are fired. Therefore, a modernized version with new internal ventilation has been developed. This variant, called the BMD-1M, is distinguishable by a vent grille on the bow. The BMD-1P has a pintle launcher for the 9K111 Fagot anti-tank missile instead of the 9M14 Malyutka. This missile, whose NATO reporting name is the AT-4 Spigot, can penetrate 400mm of steel armor at a range of 2,500 meters. The BMD-1 also has the BMD-1K command post variant. The BTR-D is an armored personnel carrier based on the BMD-1. It has an extended chassis with 6 road wheels and a different hull top. The vehicle lacks a turret and has 9 firing ports: 2 in front, 2 on each side, 1 at the rear, and 2 front hatches located below and on either side of the commander's cupola. Some early production vehicles had a small one-person turret armed with a 7.62mm PKT machine gun. Some vehicles are also fitted with a 30mm AG-17 automatic grenade launcher. The BTR-D's crew consists of the driver alongside two bow machine gunners who typically deploy with the infantry. It can carry 10 paratroopers or up to 2 tons of cargo. Its combat weight is 8,000 kilograms. The BTR-D is 5.89 meters long, 2.63 meters wide, and 1.56 meters high. It has the BMD-KShM Soroka command post, BMD-1R Sinitsa division level command and signal, BTR-RD Arabat anti-tank, NPDU Sterkh drone carrier, BREM-D repair and recovery, BTR-ZD air defense, BMD-1 R440 ODB communications, BTR-D Sun ambulance, and 1V119 Reostat artillery fire direction center variants. During the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan, some BMD-1s were fitted with an 82mm 2B9 Vasilyok mortar in the rear troop compartment, firing to the rear. It was an interim solution. The actual mortar carrier variant of the family is the 2S9 Nona-S, featuring a 120mm mortar inside a turret. Due to the low elevation and rate of fire of the main gun, the BMP-1 experienced problems in Afghanistan. The BMD-1 with the same turret as the BMP-1 suffered the same difficulties. When the USSR introduced the BMP-2 with a 30mm autocannon with a high elevation angle to solve the problem, VDV naturally demanded a similar solution. Yet the BMD-1's hull was too small for the BMP-2's two-person turret. So a one-person variant of this turret was mounted on the BMD-1. This new version was BMD-2. The BMD-2 was also 0.51 meters longer and 725 kilograms heavier than its predecessor. It also had the BMD-2K command post variant. The BMD-1 was baptized with fire during the 1978 Ogaden War, when the Cuban army deployed it in Ethiopia to fight against Somalia. 1 year later, BMD-1s were the spearhead of the initial Soviet invasion of Afghanistan. They took control of Kabul airport and Bagram airfield, enabling the rapid seizure of critical cities and facilities throughout Afghanistan. Soviet paratroopers, along with the BMD-1s, captured Kunduz. However, after that, the vehicle didn't fare well. Its armor was too thin to withstand heavy machine gun, mine, and RPG attacks, and its main armament, developed for anti-tank roles, was useless against the Mujahideen attacking from high ground. Also, there was no target for its 9M14 Malyutka missiles. Consequently, many Soviet units replaced the anti-tank missile rail with a 30mm AGS-17 automatic grenade launcher. The BMD-1s, BTR-Ds, and BMD-2s experienced the same problems during the First Chechen War. Still, during the 2008 Russo-Georgian War, the IFV performed better. BMD-1s of the 104th Airborne Assault Regiment of the 76th Guards Air Assault Division successfully engaged Georgian army troops and vehicles. It was natural. The BMD-1 was designed for conventional warfare, not counterinsurgency operations. It also fought in the 2014 Russo-Ukrainian War. The BMD-1 was used both by the Ukrainian army and the separatists. The ongoing war in Ukraine has revealed that the time for this family has passed. It's visually confirmed that over 300 Russian BMDs have been lost. The BMD and the BTR-D were products of the conditions of the First Cold War. We're now in a new era, which we define as the Second Cold War. The new game has new rules and requires new players. Still, the BMD and BTR-D deserve to be mentioned as legends. Thanks for watching our video. And please don't forget to subscribe to our channel and click the bell button to be notified of our new videos. Also, you can now click the join button to support our channel. And as always, we would greatly appreciate all of your likes, comments and shares.